So today we are going to see about the Ansible. So what is Ansible? In our DevOps journey, right, we have seen from the DevOps life cycle, right, from the continuous development, continuous integration, continuous building, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, then continuous monitoring, then continuous testing, and then continuous monitoring, right? So where this Ansible fits, where you have to use the Ansible, right? That we need to discuss today, right? So first, let's before going to show you this Ansible, let me show you one thing, right? Whatever I just told you, right? Where the Ansible fits, right? So as I said here, from the continuous process, from the DevOps life cycle, right? What we do first, continuous design, right? First thing, whenever the requirement analysis comes, right? We have the continuous design, then comes continuous development, then comes continuous integration, continuous build, right? Then comes delivery, then comes continuous testing, right? Continuous testing, then comes continuous deployment, then comes continuous monitoring. Okay, continuous monitoring. So these are the continuous process we need to follow, right? So where this Ansible, whatever we are going to learn now, where this Ansible fits, you need to understand. Okay, so until this process, we have already learned for this continuous development what tools we are going to use, and this process what we are going to use, and for this what, and for this what, and for continuous deployment. See, for Ansible fits under this continuous deployment. Here we are going to use Ansible continuous deployment. So when we are going to do the continuous deployment, we are not going to do the continuous deployment alone, right? So before doing the continuous deployment, we should finish the continuous, not continuous, configuration management. We should do the configurations. This is configuration management. We should configurations management we have to finish first. So what is this configuration management? We have to do all kind of configuration necessary installations setups before we do the deployment. Suppose we are deploying a Java applications. We are deploying a Java applications. So to run the Java applications, what we need? We need first Java to be installed. Then we need a server, right? Web server or any, suppose this is Java web app. Okay. So what do we need? We need any web app server to be there, like Tomcat and all these things to be installed, right? Tomcat, these things to be installed. And we need some binaries to be installed. Okay. Suppose we are using database part, some database library, DB library to be installed, some configurations, file configurations, file to be created, some file to be copied, file to be copied, right? So all these configurations need to be done before we do the deployment, right? So this is our configurations management. So Ansible is nothing but a configuration management, configurations management and continuous deployment tool. Continuous deployment, you can say, tool. Okay, configuration management and continuous deployment tool. Now you understood where to use the Ansible, right? Why to use Ansible and where to use Ansible. Let's get more details about this Ansible. Okay, let's understand what is Ansible. Ansible is an open source platform. See, this is also again one of the open source platform. Okay, used for automations. Ansible is an open source platform used for automation, helping with various operations such as configuration management, application deployment tasks, right? That is what I was talking about, such as configuration management and application deployment tasks, automation as well as IT orchestrations. These are the things is going to be done by the Ansible. So mostly we'll focus on these two parts. Okay. It is easy to set off. Why to use? First thing, let's understand what is Ansible. Ansible is an open source platform used for automations and helping us various operations such as, or you can say Ansible is an open source platform where we used to perform the configuration management and application deployment, right? So simple terms in your understanding, you can explain to the interviewer. Now, it's easy to set off, efficient, reliable, and powerful. It's free and runs on Linux and Mac or BSD machine. Remember, Ansible you can install on the Linux machine only. It can be installed on Linux machine only. So I'll just tell you. So why it is only Linux machines and what about the Windows machines, right? I'll tell you about next slide. So what he says, it uses push mechanism. It uses push mechanism to push the packages into node servers. So what is this node server? We have seen these node servers, right? Where? In our Jenkins, right? We used to set up the agent. The agent is nothing but a node machine, node server or node machine, right? So where we do our actual build, right? The build happens on the agent machines or the node machines in the Jenkins. So for Jenkins, what do? We set up as agents. Okay, we set up as agents, right? But Ansible is agentless. We don't need any agent to set off. Okay, okay, we'll discuss next one, this one. So it uses push mechanism to push packages into node servers using SSH connectivity. That is why whatever I have covered in our SSH connectivity, and you should be very much acquainted with that and very much hands on practices with that. Otherwise, you'll it will be difficult for you to do this kind of setups. So always do this kind of practices. SSH connectivity, how this connectivity happens without the password, right? Without sharing the password, how with key based authentications we do, right? So what it says, it uses the push mechanism. So when you say push mechanism, what is this? Okay, in the market, there Ansible is not the only tool which does the configurations management, right? There are many other tools available like Safe, Puppet, right? Salt Stack, right? Like this, lots of tools are available. So these tools follows the pull mechanism. these tools follows the pull mechanism. Means they'll pull the package to the control machines where they have installed, and from there they execute. And these are agent based, means you need to install agent for these tools. Okay, but for Ansible we don't have to install agent. It is agentless. At it uses SSH tool to interact with the node machine. Okay, SSH tool to interact with node machines. So that's why Ansible is agentless, and it uses the push mechanism. Means whenever it will do the configurations or any deployment, it will directly push the packages to the respective node machines. All the things will be there in the control machines, Ansible, where Ansible is installed. From there, it will push that one using the SSH connectivity. Okay, Ansible required to be installed on the master or control machine. So this point is required to be installed. It's not like that required to be installed. It's like wherever the Ansible is installed, right? Wherever the Ansible is installed, this machine will become your master machines or control machines. Master machines or control machines. Okay, remember, you can say master or control. So we have also Jenkins control machines, right? Jenkins controller or Jenkins master. So that means where the Jenkins is installed. Similarly, here in Ansible also, where the Ansible is installed, that we call it as master or control machine. There are two ways of Ansible we can use. One is CLI and other one is the Ansible tower. Okay. So the two ways we can do, that is, one is the CLI, using the CLI command line interface. Another is graphical user interface. So this graphical user interface is nothing, the GUI one, that is called the Ansible tower. And this is actually the enterprise one, where they are most of the companies, they are using this enterprise one to interact with the towers. Okay, but Ansible CLI is more than enough to learn and to implement any project. So any companies, as these are the enterprise, you have to purchase it. Many companies, they go with also CLI, right? So now let's see. So now you understood what is Ansible and what is the features. These are the features, you can say. These are the features, right? Now let's see why we need Ansible. First, we understood what is Ansible, right? Clear about the Ansible. Now let's see why we need Ansible. So first thing in our diagram, right? What I explained, we know what is Ansible. Now, before that, I had told you where to use Ansible. This part, whatever I explained, right? Where to use Ansible, right? Now, let's see why to use Ansible. Why Ansible? Let me just give you one scenario. On the scenario basis, I'll let you understand. Whatever is written here, I'm going to explain these other things. Okay? So, first thing, what is Ansible we know, right? This is a configuration management and continuous deployment tool. What is this? Configuration management and continuous deployment tool. Okay. So when we do the deployment, just try to understand, right? So what deployment we'll do? Suppose we do any application deployment, right? We do the product deployment, software deployment, right? So when we do the software, as I just explained, we need some prerequisites to be installed or set up before the actual deployment happens. Okay, suppose you are going to install or going to deploy one applications on this machine, right? Suppose here we are going to install to deploy the Python applications. Python applications, right? So for these Python applications, what we need? We need Python to be installed first thing, Python to be installed, and then some packages, Python packages to be there also, right? And some kind of configurations files to be copied. All these things needs to be done, right? So what do we need? Using Ansible, whenever you deploy any applications to a server, right? To a server, when you are deploying any applications, what do you have to do? We have to do first all these things to be installed. Once it is installed, then you will deploy it. Okay. So you'll be telling, right, these things we can do it manually, right? One thing we can do it in one machine, suppose, because it will take hardly 1 hour or something, then I can do it. But the same 1 hour, if whatever you do manually, right? Suppose it takes 1 hour of time to installations, all these things and do the setups. If you do Ansible, it might take only 1 minute, less than 1 minute of time. Less than 1 minute. If you're going to do it for one machines. Okay. Now what happened? Think about a typical server configurations or in a company where they have to deploy the applications on multiple machines. On multiple machines. What will happen? Not only one, they have to do the multiple machines. So the user or the administrator, what he has to do? He has to connect. If he is going to do manually, what he has to do? He has to connect each machines manually and install the applications one after another, right? Install the softwares and then deploy the applications. So it will take lots of time. Instead of that, what we can do? We can use Ansible to write all the things whatever is required to be done, right? The configurations management, what prerequisites to be installed, everything will write in the playbook and that can be triggered. So within minutes of time, all the systems will get updated. This is about, suppose, continuous deployment we talked about. Think about another scenario where an administrator has to set up, suppose a company got a new project, a new big project, and he has to set up 100 machines, 100 machines or 100 servers. He has to set up 100 servers, right? To set up the 100 servers, so he has to, suppose, install some operating system, install few applications, do the user management, do the security management, do the security management. All these things he has to do. So if the admin connecting to all these 100 servers manually one after another, so how many days it will take for him to do that, right? It will take lots of time, right? And long days to complete it. And there are also chances of human error. There is chances of human error, right? So these things, whatever the admin is going to do, now we are going to automate these things using Ansible. So what we'll do, we'll write a playbook, and in this playbook we'll write whatever the prerequisites to be installed, right? Whatever the prerequisites to be installed. With that, the deployment package, the deployment package to be added here. So what will happen? We write this playbook, that's called playbook. I'll just explain about the playbook later. So this playbook will be executed on the respective 100 machines. So same time, at a time, it will do the setups in the 100 machines. As it is automated, and the script whatever is written is one time, right? So here what happened, we save lots of time. What we save time will get accuracy, error free, right? Will save the cost. Do this setup, we need two admins and we have to pay more money for that. So whether we can just write the Ansible script and it can be done easily within the certain time, right? And we can quickly deliver the things to the customer. So this is why we need Ansible to be used. Okay, this is why companies uses Ansible. So most of the companies, because see, these 100 servers or 7 servers or 10 servers, this is one time or two times. Okay, so this cases suppose one day, but whatever I just explained about this deployment cases, these deployments, most of the companies every week they do deployment. Every time they do changes. Most of the big tech companies, right? If you talk about the e-commerce giants like Amazon, Flipkart, and all, what they do, they just weekly or monthly deployments, or most of the regular deployments happens. Any changes happens, right? So they can use Ansible to the auto deployment. So in these cases, what will happen? The configuration management would have done already, but the deployment continuously will be done every time. So some time what they do some changes to the configurations. They do changes some files, they need some extra configurations file or anything, they can set it up, right? So what they do, they just copy paste that one, or they do the deployment, configurations management, do some changes, everything they do by using this Ansible. Okay, so now you understand properly, right? What is Ansible, why we need Ansible, and where to use it. I think everything would be clear now, right? Now let's move on to the other slides. So this part you understood clearly, right? Why we need Ansible. So important terms in Ansible, we need to understand what are the important terms in Ansible. So we have the controller machines. I already have told you where the Ansible is installed. That's called the controller machine. So this is where your Ansible gets installed. Your means controller machines where your Ansible gets installed. Your controller machine helps in enabling the provisioning the servers that you manage. Okay. Inventory. This is basically an initializing file. So whatever the terms we are going to learn, right? Every terms you are going to use in your work, and remember all these things. Inventory, this is basically an initializing file which contains informations about the servers that you are managing. Means basically an initializing file which contains informations about the servers that you are managing. Suppose we are managing 5 servers. All these 5 server informations like the IP address, right? The username, the password, some kind of permissions, everything would have been set up here in the initializing file, in the inventory file. So all these informations, IP addresses, server informations will be stored under inventory. So the based on the inventory, the Ansible takes the action. Okay, so all the 5 server informations will be kept in the inventory file, right? So you have seen the inventory, right? Where in the inventory, in our suppose in kind of a book management system, in the books of you'll go, right? So they'll be kept in the book in particular inventories, right? In kind of if you go to the e-commerce business or in e-commerce sites and all, so everything will be seen, all those things they'll keep in the inventory through where they executes, where they work on, right? So similarly, we have playbooks, we got the inventory, we got the playbook. What is this playbook? Playbook is an organized unit of scripts which defines an automated work for the configuration management of your server. So organized unit of scripts, organized unit of scripts. That means we are going to write the script in this playbook. You're going to write the script in the playbook. So the instructions, the scripts will be written in a file which you need to be executed, right? Which you need to execute on the node machines. That is called your playbook. Okay, and then comes task. So this task block defines a single procedure to be executed on server. So I'm just sorry. So whenever we are just writing this playbook, right? So this playbook, and in this playbook, we have this task added. We have this task added. Means each step, each task will write, right? That will be each block for each work. Suppose we want to install something, we want to copy a file, we want to delete something. So those things will be written in each task, single block, and those blocks is called as nothing but the task, right? So the same thing in Jenkins, what we say it? In Jenkins, what we say on all this? We call it as steps, right? We call it as steps. Stage. Under each stage, there will be multiple steps, tasks. Those are the tasks which needs to be executed. Those are called steps, right? Here we are going to execute the task, and this task will be the subset of the playbook. This task will be under the playbook. Whatever playbook you are writing, each block is called as the task. Simple. And the node machine. What is this node machine? These machines will be used for deployment and installations. So these node machines are the server informations where we are keeping in the inventory. We are keeping in the inventory. These node machines, all the informations will be kept in the inventory. So these node machines are informations. These actually machines where you are going to do the actual deployment, right? Where you are going to do the actual deployment. Here is the Ansible flow. Whatever I just explained here, right? Let me explain again here. So you can see this playbook, inventory, and this is your control machines. This is your control machines where your Ansible is installed, right? So what happens here? Where your Ansible is installed, that will be your control machine. Remember, the playbook and inventory will be kept on the control machines. That could be a question they ask you where you keep your playbook and inventory. They can twist the questions or trickily they can ask you where you keep the Ansible, and by default or you have to keep it the playbook and inventory and the control machines. So inventory, we know the server informations, right? What you are going to execute will be stored in the inventory, will be stored in the inventory, right? So, and this playbook, whatever the task we have written to be executed, based on the task, whatever we have written, that will be executed. So whatever inventory server informations, so what will happen? The Ansible first read the Ansible first read the inventory file. First read the inventory file. So it will find the server list. Which server? It will find the server list, right? Server list. Which server it is going to be executed. And those server list, this playbook will be executed. In one and another server list, the playbook will be executed. Okay. So based on the inventory file, like the based on the server list available in the inventory, the playbook will be executed. Suppose if you see this example, right, this diagram, what happened? We have this particular, we have the control machines over here, and these control machines, we have the inventory file, right? So this inventory file, these node informations will be written. These node informations will be written in the inventory file, right? So Ansible, what will do? The control machines will scan the inventory file first, and it will see the server names and server informations, the IP address and all informations it will find, and then it will connect, right? Through what? It will connect through the SSH to the respective machine. To the respective machine, it will connect through the SSH. So when it connects to the machine, after connections, right, after it connected to the machines, what it will do? It will push the playbook, whatever is written, to the server. It will push the playbook to the server. So the playbook is pushed now here. And as I said, it is the push mechanism, right? It is the push mechanism. So what will happen? It will just push this in the playbook. Not only the playbook, but all the packages, right? All the packages, whatever is available is written here, right? Everything will be executed on the respective node machines. It will not be executed here. The control machines will pass that one to the push this one to the node machines. Under this node machines, it will be executed. On the node machines, it will be executed. Suppose the packages, you have the application file, you have the some kind of software to install it, and everything, if you have kept it here with along with the playbooks, everything will be pushed to the node machines, and here it will be executed. Similarly, on the respective node machines, these will be executed. Now you understood the entire Ansible workflow, how the Ansible works, right? So it will be very simple, guys. We don't have to make it much complicated. What we need an inventory file, and we need a playbook to write, and we have to install the Ansible. And the inventory file, we need to set up the server informations. That's all, right? What is H? The local machine connects to the local machine connects to these servers or nodes. It's called through an inventory using secured SSH connections. Using secured SSH connections. Once these nodes are connected to the master server, then node servers are being analyzed and playbook codes are pushed towards each of these server. Whatever just I explained, all these things are written here, right? Now you understood how it works, what we saw, what is Ansible, why we need Ansible, where to put Ansible, right? And how it works, the flow we understood. Okay. Now let's see what is the benefit, right? When we talk about why to use, what is the benefit? It comes there also. The benefits is agentless, because in the market there are multiple other tools available. Then why should you use Ansible? Ansible is agentless. You don't have to install extra agents, right? Extra software on the machines. So you need, as long as connections can be SSH, means you have already SSH connection and it has the Python, it can be configured with Ansible. No agent or software or additional firewall ports are required to install on your client and host systems for automations. Okay. Also, you don't have to worry about setting up managing of the infrastructure. You don't have to worry about that, because it connects through simply SSH connectivity, right? And it's very simple. You don't have to write complicated programming languages. You don't have to write any kind of you don't need any kind of tool to write DevOps, like a development tool like ID, right? You don't need any development ID to write it. You need simple a file, yeah, an YAML file, the same simple task you have to write it, simple coding, right? So we, for writing the playbook, we use the YAML, YAML, YAML. So YAML full form is yet another markup language. So not previously, we are using XML. You know the XML, extended markup language, right? Extended markup language. Similarly, we got yet another markup language that's called YAML, YAML, okay, which is human readable data serialization language. Human readable data serialization language, and it's very simple way to write. And you know how to write the XML file, right? The XML file will have syntax like this, right? Start, and it will be end like this, right? Under this you have to write the code. So this is the XML way of writing, right? Similarly, we have the yet another markup language here, YAML syntax also. Similarly, we'll have one way of writing. Suppose sorry, suppose ABC we give, and here you have to write task XYZ colon, you have to write the task like this serially you have to write. So we have also seen the JSON format. JSON also one kind of language, right? Java script object notations, right? So here also we know how to write the files, right? How to write the script, or how to write the JSON file. Similarly, we need to learn how to write the YAML. It will be just in 1 minute you will come to know entire YAML how to write it. Okay, there is nothing much. And one more thing, let me tell you, Ansible is totally developed in Python. Ansible is totally built in Python. That is why it is required Python to be installed. Like Jenkins, why it is installed, how it is developed. Jenkins is entirely developed by Java. It is actually an Java application. It is actually Java applications, right? What Jenkins, but Ansible is entirely developed in Python. For that, we need Python to be installed, and everywhere we should have the Pythons to execute the Ansible. Got it? Similarly, in Jenkins, we need the Java. Here we need Python. What else? Modular. It's modular as you require only one program per script. In this way, you can spread your programs across different servers. Means you have to write, as I said, you have to write only once, but that can be executed multiple servers. That can be executed multiple servers. Modular. Efficient. As no extra software required on your servers, which means more space for your resources is there. So it is very efficient because we don't need extra software or agents to be installed, right? Powerful and flexible. Having powerful features which gives you capability to model even complex IT workflow in lesser time, along with managing infrastructure, networks, operating systems, services that are already in use. So it is very powerful and flexible way to do that. So what are operations we can do in Ansible? By using Ansible, what are the operations we can do? One thing is configurations management. Okay, we can do the configuration management. The other one, what we can do the resource and server provisioning. Resource and server provisioning. So what is in configuration management? We already have discussed. It provides stability in performance and product recording. So no need to read all these things. We have already seen what is the configuration management, right? So resource and server provisioning, like we use another it is called infrastructure as a code, or it's called a server provisioning. Server provisioning and procurement means we are going to get a new server. That also we can do using the Ansible. Okay. But mostly companies they use Ansible for configuration management and continuous deployment. This server provisioning and resource and server provisioning mostly done by the Terraform. Mostly done by the Terraform. Okay, we'll discuss even later on this. Let's go on the application deployment. As I said, mostly we do for the configurations management and application deployment. And security and compliances, yes, whenever we focus on the configurations management and deployment, we basically should focus on the security. Basically, focus on the security and compliance, right? Orchestrations, we can also perform the orchestrations of your application using Ansible. Ansible provides the orchestrations by aligning the business request with the applications data and infrastructure. So provides the orchestrations. What is it? You can also perform orchestrations of your, what is orchestrations? Means you can kind of a managing, right? Orchestrate all the things, whatever, all the server or the things whatever we have, how to manage all these things, right? We can do the orchestrations. This is what you have to do. So now let's go ahead and see how we can install the Ansible. So the Ansible can run from, this is very important to know, from on any Linux machines with Python 2.6 or 2.7 install. But now in the market we have the upgraded latest version of Python is there. What is the Python 3, right? Python 3.9 or Python, this is the latest versions, and Python also keep upgrading. So by the minimum is equal to 2.6 or 2.7 to Python 3.9. So another things, what is H? Windows is not supported for control or master machines. Windows is not supported for control or master machines. However, you can use for the target machines. Means you cannot install, cannot you cannot install, can't install Ansible on Windows machine. However, you can make the Windows machine as your node machine. You can make it as your node machines, yeah, target machines. So Ansible will have Ansible in the Linux machines, right? We can make another Linux machines to configure Windows machines, or we can keep them in. Means this Windows machines can be your node machines, but it cannot be the controller master machines. Okay, Windows is not supported for control or master machines. Got it? So the installations process. So we have to let me show you quickly, and I'll give you the task to install by yourself. But I'll show you how you can do that. Okay, we are running out of time. So what I can do, I'm just going to, let's log into the Ansible. So Ansible, as I said before, right? We always follow the documentations, right? So if I just do Ansible installation, go to the Ansible documentations first. Ansible, where you can find the installations process, right? All the setups, how we can do the installations. See, installing as Ansible through using peeps and all. Okay, installing this, installing and upgrading Ansible with pip. Okay, so you have to first install the Python if you don't have Python installed on your machines. So you have to first install Python, and then after once install Python is installed, using the Python module, you can install this one. Okay, if you're using Amazon Linux, you can directly install Python in your Amazon Linux, and by default I think Amazon Linux giving the Python by default inbuilt, it will be there. If it is not there, then you install Python, and once you install Python in Amazon Linux, you can directly use, I think, yum install Ansible. It should install Ansible for you. If it's not working, then you have to use Python 3 using pip package manager. Python package manager, right? Use pip in your selected Python environment to install full Ansible package for the current user. You can use this one, right? Then this is what the options are available. Just follow the documentations and go through the installations. Okay, and this task is for you if you are not able to install, and we will discuss these things in our next class.